Good morning, guys, and welcome to the show. Now, there's a lot of guys on YouTube and other places who talk and predict about where cryptocurrency is going and everything else. And I have a little bit different perspective than these other guys. And one of the reasons why I'm a financial trends forecaster primarily. My other channel is, my main channel is Financial Turmoil Explained. And I have to predict into the future where the financial world is going. Now, right now, we've just come over a Goldilocks period in the stock market. It's short-lived. It was mostly commercial stock buybacks of big corporations, corporate buybacks, and they've been buying their own stock. The shareholders have been having a field day, making tons of money off of these stock buybacks. Now, the Asian markets have swung downwards sharply. What we're seeing is, we're seeing the front side of a general economic recession that's taking over the whole world. Italy was one of the first countries to go under and go into a recession. It looks like Great Britain, the United Kingdom, is going to be next, along with Germany, and then Canada is going to follow suit. It's a spreading. And we have, you have to have 2 negative quarters of GDP growth to officially enter into recession. Well, it looks like the United Kingdom's going into their first quarter, and they're into a general slowdown right now being caused by the Brexit. The whole world economy is starting to turn downwards. Now, what I'm looking for very specifically that's going to affect Bitcoin, big time affect Bitcoin is when the Federal Reserve changes monetary policy. Now, they've already come out and they've said, okay, we're going to be patient, just a little while ago. But they didn't do anything. They didn't take any positive action. They're still withdrawing liquidity from the system, $50 billion a month of liquidity. This is putting constraints on the amount of liquidity now, because they've been doing this for quite a while. This was the exact same liquidity that they put into the system during quantitative easing. Now, during quantitative tightening, they're withdrawing that liquidity out of the system. It's starting to have an effect, a very profound effect. And liquidity is drying up. But this morning, there's a lot of fear in the marketplace. Liquidity is bouncing around. It's moving very quickly. It's moving into treasuries as a safe haven asset. But you know what? They're moving it into the wrong places. Now, here's the thing. Cryptocurrency. Why I'm watching the Fed so carefully? Because when these markets all turn downwards, and they're starting to, what's going to happen at a certain point is the Fed is actually going to take real action. It's that real action that's going to have a profound effect upon Bitcoin. That's going to be the turning point. Now, this morning, the fear that's in the marketplace, they started to give gold a bid, and this is part of the fear reaction. Initially, they'll turn to the safe havens that they already know. Initially. And when this deflationary downturn in the market occurs, the capital will start turning to the places that they know and love, like the Japanese currency is one that immediately comes to mind as a safe haven asset. The American currency is another one that comes to mind as a safe haven asset. And they will turn to gold and silver, too, as safe haven assets. But ultimately, Bitcoin is on its way to becoming the ultimate safe haven asset. If 5 years ago I were to say to anyone, talk about Bitcoin becoming the world reserve currency, they would laugh in my face. Now they don't laugh anymore. That's how far we've come in 5 years. It was unthinkable for Bitcoin to be the world reserve currency. But I don't see Bitcoin as becoming the world reserve currency. I see Bitcoin as becoming the world safe haven asset. Gold has been a safe haven asset for a long time. How many people do you see go into a coffee shop, have a donut, have their friends have a donut, maybe they're sitting at a table, there's 5 or 6 of them, and they all have donuts, and they all have a big cup of coffee and stuff, maybe at Starbucks or whatever, and the guy pull out a 1-gram gold coin to pay for it? How many times do you see that happen? Never. Never. I see the same thing happen in the Bitcoin. All these people out there that are worried about Bitcoin, they say, well, it can never become a currency because of the shortcomings within the network and scaling and all this kind of thing. I don't see Bitcoin being used for that in the first place. I see Bitcoin taking the position of a safe haven asset, something that is stored away, precious like gold, and is not spent as a currency. In fact, the world is so big that about 6 of these coins, 5 or 6 of them, could all fit into that position and not be spent. Sit in wallets and only be spent when a person needs to transfer vast amounts of money very quickly across the internet. Then you might see one transaction on the network. You know, somebody's sending $100 million from one corporation to another. They can do it very quickly, within 10 minutes with Bitcoin. And it's confirmed, and it's in the other guy's account. That's the transactions you're going to see. You're not going to see these Bitcoin being used for buying a cup of coffee. It ain't going to happen. And as Bitcoin goes up in price higher and higher, you're going to see less people moving it across the network. You're going to see the volume of transactions dwindle. So Bitcoin doesn't need to scale as a currency. I don't see it going in that direction. And in fact, I see about 5 other or 6 other coins all fitting into that position, with Bitcoin being the coin that they determine the value of these other valuable coins at. In fact, all of the coins, even the ones that are used as currency. I can see a dozen or more of these coins that are really able to scale being used as currencies, actually used as currencies, being used to spend in a coffee shop. And I'm not talking about Litecoin, because I think Litecoin is going to get sucked into that same position as Bitcoin, as being a store of value similar to silver, taking the position of silver. So we got to move way down the list before we're going to find coins that'll actually be used to pay for a cup of coffee at a coffee shop. You might have to go all the way down to Dogecoin. People might be using Dogecoin to pay for your cup of coffee. And instantly the computer will transfer the value of what that coin is worth into Bitcoin. Or you might see about 6 different coins that are actually not used for payments. They're only used for people to store them away as a store of value. And you can tell which coins these are. And if you know which coins these are, you can become rich right now, buying into them. You can tell which coins these are. These are the coins that have a limited circulation. There will only be so many printed. Now, Bitcoin fits into that perfectly. There's only going to be 21 million. And how many coins are in circulation right now? This tells you if they're going to be a store of value coin. This is one of your determining factors. Also, another determining factor if it's going to be a store of value coin is if you actually see that coin quite high up on the list right now. Because if it's way down on the list, if it's like number 243 or something like that, more than likely it's going to fade away and disappear. And you'll never see it. Probably the coins that are going to be store of value coins are coins that are already on that list right now. You already see them. And they're probably in the top 20 or top 30 coins already. And they have limited issue. They're limited in number. Hard limit on them. And the hard limit's not really all that big. Look for coins that have only like maybe between 5 and say 30 million of them out there right now. And those coins, and they're already in the top coins. Those coins are probably the ones that are going to become the store of value coins, and they'll move up the list as time goes by. Whereas these other coins, where they're printing billions of them, billions and billions of them, and they have a higher transaction rate, they're able to transfer transactions per second is much higher. Those are the coins that are going to be used to pay for a cup of coffee. Now, those coins are going to go way up in value too, but they're going to be all comparatively priced to Bitcoin. See, there's going to be a change in the way people think. People are not going to be thinking dollars anymore. Right now, everyone, I don't care who you go to, you say, how much is your house worth? And they say, oh, it's worth so many dollars. And they say, how much is your car worth? They say, oh, so many dollars. There's a time coming when they're going to have to change their entire way of thinking, and they're going to have to start pricing things in Bitcoin. When I first moved to Canada, everything was in centimeters. When I was in the United States, I grew up in the United States, I was used to inches. And temperature was one of the hard things for me. It was all in Celsius. So when I first moved to Canada, I was thinking in Fahrenheit. And what I would do is I'd get a calculator out, and I'd try to figure out what the temperature was. They would say, well, it's 20 degrees today, Celsius. And I'd be like, I don't know what that is. Is that hot? Is that cold? And I would pull out a calculator, and I'd figure out Fahrenheit. And then it would say in Fahrenheit what it was like. I think it's like 70 degrees or whatever. And I'd say, oh, I know what that is now. Right? Well, that's going to be the way it is when the dollar goes down and we have to all switch over to everything being worth so much Bitcoin. We're going to be sitting there making conversions, and we're going to be taking calculators out and figuring out how much your house is worth in Bitcoin. So a guy's going to come along and say, well, your house is worth a half a Bitcoin, or whatever, and you're going to have to take the calculator out and figure out what that is in dollars. This is because I think that this transfer over is going to happen so fast that a lot of people aren't going to get used to it in their head because they're used to all thinking dollars. The dollar's been the de facto world reserve currency, but its moorings have all been pulled out from under it now. It's like a table. If you've pulled 3 legs out from under it at this point, it's ready to fall over. And what's ready to take its place? Bitcoin. Really. This is the way it's setting up. So, Bitcoin right now is at the bottom of a trough. It's fell down from $20,000 down to these prices. This has made people's attitudes toward it right now at this moment very negative about the market. Everything can change in a heartbeat when we get these crises starting to hit. So what we got unfolding right now, we've got the Asian markets falling. China is in a huge slump. Trade wars going on. At the same time, we got the Brexit. We got Italy just stumbling along, barely staying alive. The ECB is running out of money and running out of patience. The people in Europe are very, very upset. They don't want austerity. They want money. The European Union supported them for the longest time now, and they're used to a certain lifestyle. Suddenly, they're going to have to face austerity. They're not going to accept it. Got turmoil coming to the European Union. I see it fragmenting in the upcoming 24 to 36 months. All of these crises are going to come together, including a general malaise in the world economy, a recession. It's going to only get worse when Europe starts to fall apart. And this recession is going to make Europe fall apart. When Europe falls apart, it's going to change the recession into a worldwide economic crisis. All of the real estate markets are going to start to fall to pieces. Enormous amounts of money is going to be lost in the system. The central banks are going to be forced to try to make up for this by printing new money. And when they do that, then there's going to be a general feeling across the world that fiat currencies are not suitable, that they're not, there's going to be the way people think is they're going to be thinking to spend these fiat currencies as fast as they can on real goods and services, chasing real goods and services. This is going to escalate things even worse, and the whole world is going to go into a hyperinflation. And it's going to be all about the fiat currencies losing value. Now, if you've studied hyperinflation, you'll understand that when a currency starts to lose value and people lose confidence in the purchasing power of a particular currency, what they always have is they always turn to a currency that does have value. Like in Venezuela, for instance, they turn to the US dollar. They turn to cryptocurrencies. Dash is one of the cryptocurrencies that they turn to. There's a number of other cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, so on. They turn to something that does have value because their Venezuelan currency is only good for lighting fires with it or something, or I mean, it's like gone to nothing in its value. But in this case, all of the fiat currencies are going to be doing the same thing. So what do they do then? Well, they always turn to something that's going to maintain a value. So what are they going to do? They're going to turn to three asset classes. The whole world's going to turn to these three asset classes. Gold, silver, and crypto. That's where they're going to go. The whole world, though. We got a world economy now. It's all linked together. The entire world is linked together, and they're all going to go after these three asset classes. It's going to be the same thing as having a stadium full of people, and there's only one exit door, and somebody yells fire. They all try to get out that exit door. This is what we got coming. And it's going to be into gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies. And because gold and silver are old school, they're not suitable for the internet. They're not suitable for modern society. Cryptocurrency is probably going to take a lot of the heat of this massive inflow of all the world's capital. And so if this happens too quickly, we could be facing an unimaginable crisis, a desperate situation in the world. But either way, even if it happens slowly, ultimately this is not a good thing. What it's going to lead to is a feudalistic type society with no growth. This is going to create bad. This is bad. Cryptocurrency is actually bad. A gold standard is what we had in the Middle Ages. It's bad. It doesn't work good. It creates the haves and the have-nots. It creates the kind of society where we don't want to go. But the problem is these cryptocurrencies now are out of the barn. Nobody can stop them. I can't stop them. Nobody can stop them. It's not good. It's very bad. But at this point, I don't see any way out. This is the way it's going. And it's going to lead to the kind of world we don't want. Initially, they started these cryptocurrencies, and they thought it would make a better world. All these people are out there saying, oh, it's wonderful, cryptocurrency, no bad bankers, no more bad. And I fell into all that, But now I've learned better, that ultimately, in the end, when we move into a society worldwide where the only thing of value is land and cryptocurrency, then it's going to be exactly like it was in the Middle Ages, when the only thing of value was gold and land. And what type of society did we have? We had lords and serfs. The serfs were the have-nots, and the lords were the haves. And they lorded it over. And this is exactly where we're headed with this. This isn't good. Is this the kind of world we want? But, on the other hand, a lot of you guys out there are bag holders. Some of you that watch my show have got in it really early, and you got a lot of this stuff, a lot of this crypto. Can you imagine how wealthy you'll become after we make this transfer worldwide? But it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing because of what it's going to do. The effect it's going to have. Also, just like I read in that show that yesterday about the time traveler, he's spot on. That's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to be in a kind of world where we don't have any growth anymore, and everybody that's a bag holder knows they're just going to hang on, and then the price is just going to go higher and higher and higher. There's no end to how high and how much buying power the cryptocurrency can actually have if it's the only thing of value in the world. I don't know. What can I say, guys? Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next show. Bye-bye, guys.